We're going to be talking about how to have multiple methods inside a class now. So public class multiple methods. Up to this point, we've pretty much had everything in main. So public static void main string args. Now, what does it really mean? You see, the Java virtual machine calls main system out println. This gets called first. We've called other methods. In fact, println is actually a method inside the system.out package. So we can do things like this. Public static void print me. And inside that, I can say system out println print me called. So if I just go ahead and type print me from here, first I have to save it in the right place, it'll compile and run, then, oh, here it is. This gets called first, and then print me called. So print me, all this does is this is a method call. It's as if everything inside print me was replaced right there. That's all that it does. Method calls is simply nothing more than replacing that code in that exact place. Having multiple methods is very useful. Helps with organization, helps you reuse things. So for example, again, let's have another method here. It's called print stars. And this will print some stars. So public static void print stars. All right, what are we going to print? Well, let's have a double for loop. So for int I equals 0, I is less than 10, I plus plus. And then inside this, we'll have for int j equals 0, j is less than, say, 10, j plus plus. All right, I need to finish this one. There we go. All right, so system out println, let's do a star. In fact, let's get rid of the print line, and then we'll have just a system out print line. This is going to print some stars. In fact, we're going to do j equals I. So every time it's going to print a number of stars. All right, so we have our main method, and all that does is it has a system out println. This gets called. Then it's going to call print me, which prints this, returns. Then it says print stars. It'll print these stars and then return. So, all right, let's see what happens. Cool. So this gets called first, right there. Print me, and then print stars, and it prints all sorts of stars. How many lines of code can you have in another method? As many as you want. They can also be useful. For example, public static add me. I'm going to take an int x and an int y, and instead of void, I'm going to return an int. So be return x plus y. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do int result equals add me 3, 3, and then system out println result. What this will do is it'll put the number 3 into it'll make x's value 3 and y's value 3, and so it'll return 3 plus 3, which would be 6. And there's our 6 right there. So it did everything in order, and that's what a method is. All a method is a line of code, or as many lines of code as you want, that does something. Notice that main has a void, so it doesn't return anything. It just does things, and when it's done, it returns, but it doesn't return a value. This thing returns, in this case, an integer. I can return a string, I can return Boolean, I can return anything I want. So public static string, I'm going to do concat, where I'm going to do x, y, and z. I'm simply going to return x concatenated with y concatenated with z. And it's a silly method, but it has its uses in showing you what it can do. So str equals concat, and I'm going to concatenate hello, comma, there, and George. There we go. So this will return the result into str, which we will just system out println str. All right, compiled, and hello there, George, as one string. You can also have methods call methods. So system out println is a method, and then add me is a method, and then I can do 3, 4, and that will return 7. There we go, 7. So in the chapter, you can learn all about it, but it has to be public or private. We'll learn more about that in later chapters. But public means any other class could use this. Private would simply mean only this class can use it, so I can use private. Static you have to use until you get to object-oriented programming. Int, that's the return type. String is a return type. If you don't have a return type, then you have void. Then you have the method name, and then of course you have all of the parameters you want. You can have as many as you want, but they have to match. 3 goes to the x, 4 goes to the y. And that is a basic introduction to methods.